What do you do when the chips are all down, the last of your plans have been exhausted, and you only have 5 minutes until complete and utter annihilation? You wait for Goku, of course. The Dragon Ball franchise is built upon a foundation of sagas that put absolutely everything on the line. From the global domination of Demon King Piccolo all the way to the universal survival arc, we're going to explore the highest stakes storylines Akira Toriyama has ever woven. What better way to talk about Dragon Ball sagas that put everything on the line than to start off with the saga that easily put the most on the line, the Universal Survival Saga. The final arc of Dragon Ball Super took the classic Dragon Ball trope of power creep to its ultimate conclusion by pitting not only the strongest fighters of the universe against each other, but the strongest fighters of the multiverse against each other. Thanks in no small part to Goku's mile-thick skull, the two best friends forever, the Zenos, decided to host their very own martial arts Royal Rumble to ease their omniscient boredom. The prize for said tournament winner? Their very own wish from Super Shenron, the galaxy-sized dragon capable of granting literally anything. No puny baby rules or restrictions like boring regular Shenron or Purunga. And the prize for getting knocked out of the tournament? Your whole universe gets deleted in an instant. Yeah, to say things were on the line in that particular scenario would be an understatement. Undeterred by the threat of imminent deletion, Goku enthusiastically assembled fighters to represent Universe 7. The search went mostly okay until the very last member. Like I said, a lot was on the line here. Back when the episodes first aired, going into this tournament, things felt pretty low stakes. After all, Goku and Vegeta had become powerful enough to potentially challenge even the gods of destruction. Before the fighting even began, Universe 7's victory already seemed like a bygone conclusion. And then Jiren the Grey showed up. Jiren is admittedly a divisive character among fans, as some feel he's a boring retread of the ultimate opposing power trope where others don't care, because he's just that awesome. It became immediately evident that the Universal Survival Saga was really more like the Goku vs. Jiren saga padded out by a bunch of smaller fights of varying quality, which again, some would argue is a detriment to the saga as a whole. But oh baby, when Goku fell into that spirit bomb and tapped into those first bits of Ultra Instinct, my hype levels honestly rivaled the first Super Saiyan transformation moment. Despite some technical and pacing flaws, the Universal Survival Saga stands as one of, if not the best arc in Dragon Ball Super. It was the first time in Super where the consequences actually felt heavy, and our heroes truly in danger. And when you cap it all off with one of the best fight sequences in the franchise, you got yourself a 5-star saga, or should we say 4-star. Going all the way back from the conclusion of Dragon Ball Super to the very beginning of Dragon Ball Z, we arrive at what many fans agree is a strong contender for the best Dragon Ball saga of them all, the Saiyan Saga. This one had it all, folks, and it set the pace for basically every saga to follow in Dragon Ball Z. Over the course of the first 5 episodes, fans learned that Goku had a son, a brother, and was actually an alien the whole time. Well, that explains a lot. These revelations didn't have much time to sink in, though, as Goku's big brother Raditz not only dominated Earth's 2 strongest fighters, but forced them to work together, ultimately resulting in Goku's passing. It's easy to look back and think, oh, it'll be fine, Goku will pull through now, after so many years of clutch fourth quarter saves, but at the time these episodes first aired, Dragon Ball Z changed everything. In one swift kick, Raditz obliterated Goku's hard-earned title of World's Strongest, and forever transformed the Dragon Ball landscape. And turns out, Raditz was actually kind of a pushover. Yeah, thanks to Krillin's big fat mouth, Raditz was able to transmit information about the Dragon Balls to his much stronger Saiyan counterparts deep in outer space, who just so happened to have a vested interest in wishing for eternal life. And with Raditz and Goku's final breaths, the ticking clock to prepare for the Saiyans began. This saga stands out particularly because of its sense of urgency. That 1-year deadline forced the Z fighters to push themselves further than ever before, fully aware they still wouldn't stand a chance. Heck, even some of the filler was solid. The saga splendidly built up the tension of the Saiyans' arrival, and speaking of which, boy did those Saiyans arrive. Nappa and Vegeta did not mess around. Okay, maybe Nappa messed around a bit. The fact that Nappa, the weaker of the 2 Saiyans, so effortlessly tore through every Z fighter didn't help to alleviate the overarching sense of dread this saga carried. And when Goku did finally show up to Tango, the odds didn't exactly appear in his favor. That showdown between Goku and Vegeta is another example of why this saga stands out. Each fighter was pushed to their absolute breaking point, and Vegeta's wrath not only threatened the destruction of our heroes, but the Earth itself. With such insurmountable odds, there's no doubt the Saiyan Saga belongs on this list. The Buu Saga is definitely the odd one out on this list because while it certainly puts everything on the line, fans tend to feel split on their reception to it as a whole. For one, there isn't really a single terrifying bad guy until the emergence of Kid Buu later on. Until that point, we're mostly just told how powerful and terrifying Majin Buu is. And while his displays of strength are impressive, Fat Buu appears more playful than menacing, but looks can be deceiving. While it is certainly intimidating seeing the Supreme Kai shake in his boots over the threat of Majin Buu, it just isn't quite as effective as other examples in the franchise of powerful characters being terrified over a new threat. For example, the horror with which Vegeta reacts to the arrival of the Ginyu Force on Namek is so much more palpable because audiences spent a whole saga terrified of him. Whoever makes the Prince of all Saiyans quake in his space boots has got to be one tough cookie. Regardless, the Buu Saga picks up steam once Buu is released from his prison and begins his reign of terror. Things go especially off the rails when Buu dispatches Babidi and takes his career solo, eventually splitting off into increasingly evil incarnations. It isn't until the arrival of Kid Buu, though, that everything really starts to hit the fan. Right out of the gate, that nasty little gumball decided he was sick of the Earth and just blew the whole planet up right then and there. I'd say it's about then that I started thinking this Buu guy might actually be a threat to Goku and friends after all. The final showdown between Goku and Kid Buu on the sacred world of the Kai has some amazing moments, really close calls, and takes the combined efforts of everyone to eventually achieve that unlikely victory. Goku's farewell and wish for Buu to reincarnate was a truly touching way to send off the most powerful villain in all of Dragon Ball Z. Here it is, the granddaddy of all the big bad villain arcs in the Dragon Ball franchise. The Demon King Piccolo Saga represented a major tonal shift for the initially bright, cheerful Dragon Ball. Up until Piccolo's debut, threats never really seemed that catastrophic, just more of an inconvenience to the main characters. That all changed when Tambourine did his little tap dance routine on Krillin's shiny head. Sure, Dragon Ball had dealt with mortality a few times in the past, but never with the frequency and seriousness seen in the Piccolo Saga. I mean, the guy managed to wish his youth back and thanked Shenron for hooking him up by blasting him into oblivion. OG Piccolo meant business. Piccolo represented the greatest imaginable evil at the time for the world of Dragon Ball. He was literally the antithesis of Kami, the literal god and guardian of Earth. If nothing else, seeing Master Roshi's reaction to the idea that Piccolo might have escaped his rice cooker prison, it's a whole thing, was more than enough reason to fear the Demon King. After all, the act of imprisoning Piccolo cost Master Mutaito, Roshi's teacher, his life. More than anything, during their first matchup, Piccolo not only defeated the young Goku, but left him broken and battered. And this was while he was still all old and wrinkly and stuff. After that happened, things did not look great for the surviving heroes. The situation was so dire, in fact, that Goku was forced to seek out the ultra-divine water hidden deep within an icy labyrinth on Korin's tower. At the same time, Piccolo was getting busy as the newly self-appointed king of the world by releasing the world's most dangerous prisoners upon the public. Even with the newfound strength given to him by the ultra-divine water, few believed Goku stood a chance in a rematch with the Demon King in his prime. However, with everything on the line, Goku managed to find the strength and determination needed to punch a hole clean through Piccolo, ending his dark reign forever. Oh, wait, what? Oh man, yeah, he went right through that guy, huh? Note to self, do not cross Goku. You didn't honestly think we'd leave this one out, did ya? No list of high-stakes back-against-the-wall sagas is complete without the maniacal space emperor himself, Frieza. Much like the Saiyan Saga, this arc isn't just a great story for Dragon Ball, it's one of the greatest pieces of television, period. The Namek and Frieza sagas, and let's be real, they're both basically one gigantic saga with 2 chapters, were a perfect evolution of the earlier sagas of Dragon Ball that revolved around actually hunting down the golden orbs. Just like earlier sagas, our heroes quickly met fierce competition in their search for the Dragon Balls, but this time, it was against foes unlike any seen before. Instead of the antics of Emperor Pilaf or the militaristic Red Ribbon Army, the Frieza Force was flush with fighters of unimaginable power, most capable of destroying whole worlds. And leading that nightmarish army was the posh, well-spoken tyrant himself. There was hardly a moment over the course of 67 whole episodes where it felt like the heroes stood a chance against even one officer like Zarbon, let alone Frieza. And to top it all off, Vegeta hit the scene stronger and more determined than ever. Remember, Gohan, Krillin, and Bulma went to Namek to use their Dragon Balls to revive Piccolo, because without Piccolo, that meant no Kami, and no Kami means no Shenron, so this mission was literally all or nothing. Although strong in their own right, Gohan and Krillin were no more than tiny ducks in an ocean of really big alien ducks. In order to prepare, Goku tortured his body, training at 100 times Earth gravity while flying to Namek, and emerged from his ship unlike anything we'd seen before. Even though he made quick work of most of the Ginyu Force, Goku was still no match for Frieza. And when Frieza finally rolled up his sleeves to get the job done, the ensuing fight stretched over 32 episodes and saw numerous transformations. In the end, it took the combined efforts of the entire cast, the emergence of the legendary Super Saiyan, and the total destruction of planet Namek to end Frieza's reign of terror. If everything wasn't on the line then, I just don't know when it would be. So how's that for high-stakes action? Which of these sagas do you remember anxiously awaiting the next episode? Or was it one we left out? Personally, I'll always have a soft spot for the Saiyan Saga. That visual of Goku versus Vegeta is just flat-out iconic. Sharing the nostalgia by liking this video and subscribing to CBR for next week's exciting episode of Dragon Ball Z.